Hi, I'm Tinny from Mini Bull Design, and today, for those of you guys that are interested, and there were a few people that was interested in the pellet gun I just bought, I'm just going to take the camera off the tripod and put it on close-up and go over some of the basics of this gun, because if you've never seen one before like I had, only seen pictures, you might have some questions. So I'll go over all the questions I had and just basically show you the gun. Now, when I got this, it was funny. It appears, and the only thing I can think of that would explain everything on it being just floppy loose was, it looks like it came unassembled, and the distributor just assembled it to verify all the parts were there. Never even tightened anything up. I mean, everything was ready to fall right off of it, except for right in the boiler room where the trigger mechanism, everything was good there. But like the barrel weights and the sights and the action mounted in the stock was all, even one screw missing. And the one screw they had in the stock to hold the action in was not even a check screw. It was just a local hardware store Phillips screw, 5mm. So anyway, let me get this, and I had read that from other people that had bought them, that they came and they were already fall apart. So let me get the camera off the tripod and give you a little bit of a look at this. Now, the first concern I had right up front was that these sights were plastic. I had heard that they made some plastic ones, and when I first looked at them, I thought they were plastic. But, take my word for it, these are solid tool steel, all milled out as near as I can tell. They may be some kind of cast metal, but anyway, at any rate, they're steel, they're metal, and very rigid. Now this barrel has a grooved, the barrel is grooved, the receiver is grooved, so you can put a scope for a 3/8 mount scope right on it. Now the sights are, let me sit down here a little bit, the sights are micro click, that's left, right, that's up and down, and they do, when they turn, about every 8th turn they click. And I think one complete revolution is 2.5mm at 10 meters. And I had to put them on, bolt everything down, and took it out in the factory at, instead of 30 feet, which it's rated for, at 20 feet, because that's all the room I had. I had to adjust it. When it came out of the box, the sights weren't even on it. I slid them on and tightened them up. There's 2 screws here, thumb screws to tighten them up with. Put it in, tighten it up, slid it back and forth till, put the element in the front. I moved them until I got the right focus, so everything looked right to me. And the first shot I fired was a 1/4 inch to the right, and the up and down was perfect. So it took a few clicks of this to get on, and when I got finished setting right on a rest, I was putting pellets right directly on top of each other at 20 feet. So I did some offhand shooting with it and didn't do too bad for first try. And then I took it out here and set some balloons up out in the dooryard. One out where that yellow sign is, and one out on that pine tree by the garage out there, the factory. And I could consistently pop balloons out there. So that gives you some idea of the accuracy. This is a rather odd design in that the barrel doesn't really set any action, set in the stock. There's just a tower mount right here, and then it's got the weights on the end and all of that. But if you look in the end, it looks like a shotgun in the end. That's because this large diameter goes back inside about to here before you actually get to the rifling. So it's deeply crowned, I guess you'd call it. These sights come out, you just turn this knob and pick the sights right out and slide the ones in any of the reticles you want. And this is where the CO2 goes in. You just simply screw that out, slide a CO2 in there, and the puncture thing, put the CO2 in bottom first with the neck forward, and this has a fairly large post in it that punctures a CO2 cartridge. Now, to cock it, I'll lean this down here. You can see there's two settings here. You can go back, and that cocks it. Then you put your pellet in right here and close it up. Okay, that's ready to fire. But if you want to dry fire, you go back to here, and you can dry fire there. And then just pull it back and dry fire. Now, this trigger is big time adjustable. There's, you see there's all kinds of screws in there. I set mine for, they had it set so it creeped back about 1/8 of an inch and then was fairly crisp. I made it a little more crisp and I didn't have any creep in it. I don't like creep in the trigger. I like the trigger that when it moves, it fires. So I'll give you some idea here. You can watch. You'll hear it click. You can see I got it pretty crisp. And that's the way I like it. Maybe that's not the right way, but that's the way I like it. Now, I'm going to, I might even have this plate on here backwards. This came with spacers, but I'm going to move, get some longer bolts. They're 5mm. Everything on is 5mm. And make an aluminum spacer longer. And I'm going to move this back probably 3/4 of an inch or an inch because it's a little short for me. They only sell one model of this, and this in the book said it was a youth model, so it's not as big as it could be, although it's fine the way it is, and I would not raise the cheek piece any at all. That's perfect for me. I would make this 3/4 of an inch longer, and then the reach would be a little better for me, but it's not bad. But I'm not a big person either. It has this rubber stuff impregnated right into the grip. It's got a nice feel to it. And on the bottom, it has a bar here for, I think, where you can mount a strap or weights or a whole bunch of different things you can put in there. And you can see there's one screw missing. I'm going to go to the hardware store and get that. That's 5mm by about, I don't know, an inch. And that didn't come with it. It was missing. So I think that's the initial overview of it. As I shoot it and learn, I'll be telling you more and more about it. But my first impression is that it's extremely solid, extremely accurate, no flopsy-wopsy anything. Everything on it's rock solid and works just the way it's supposed to. No junky Chinese stuff. It's everything is crisp, solid, and the finish is, for a Czechoslovakian gun, the finish is not bad. It's I don't know whether they tumble it or what. It's got a satin black finish on it, and the only place there's any tooling marks I could see is right on this CO2 tube. It's got some turning marks on it. No big deal, but the action, as you can see, is pretty crisp. I didn't see any tooling marks. Even the bolt. On some of the older ones I saw, this bolt was pretty rough. This one's very nice. You can see it's nice and smooth. So, that's my initial overview of that. Kind of comical when you cock it all the way back. There's a warning thing. This right here comes back, and you'll see when you fire it that it goes in. And then if you want to dump the CO2 when you're done, you don't want to stay in the gun. They recommend doing this. You put your thumb on that, push forward, and it'll dump all the CO2. So you can tell whether it's cocked because it'll be in. See? And then when you fire it, that's in. So that's kind of cool. Call it a warning button, I think. It's kind of hard to tell because the instructions are all written in, translated from Czechoslovakian into English, and they're kind of comical to read, if you know what I mean. The trigger's adjustable in every direction known to man. Some of the adjustments you have to take it out of the stock to adjust, but most of them you can come right up with a screwdriver right through that hole. So, I'm Tinny from Mini Bull Design. Get out and hike, take a friend, enjoy the great outdoors, and more important than anything, try to set some time aside today to have some fun, and try to have a really great day. Bye-bye.